Welcome to my channel, where your adventure into the future starts right now. Step into a vibrant universe filled with groundbreaking technology, breathtaking alien landscapes, and exhilarating sci-fi narratives that challenge your imagination. From daring explorations of distant galaxies to haunting journeys through dystopian societies, we uncover the most captivating stories and innovative ideas that will shape the world of tomorrow. Subscribe today and join us on an incredible intergalactic voyage that promises to inspire and thrill. The war was officially declared. The Empire, in all its overwhelming military might, had chosen to invade humanity, certain of its inevitable victory. Its fleets were unmatched, its technology centuries ahead of anything Earth could offer, and its vast armies prepared for battle with cold precision. It was an iron-fisted empire, born from thousands of years of conquest, and it had crushed every species that dared to challenge its authority. The humans, by contrast, were still relatively new to the galactic stage. Despite their impressive feats of engineering and the rapid development of their spacefaring technologies, they were still a young species compared to the ancient empires of the stars. They had not yet mastered the sophistication of their invaders' technologies. Still, humanity had something no other species had anticipated: a complete and utter lack of fear. As the Empire's forces advanced towards Earth's solar system, the first attacks came without warning. Dreadnoughts the size of entire moons, each equipped with weapons capable of annihilating entire planets, descended upon the colonies humanity had established in the farthest reaches of the galaxy. They swept through them with shocking efficiency. Cities turned to ash, fleets of ships were turned into debris, and any attempt at resistance was mercilessly crushed. The humans could only watch in horror as their outposts were decimated. The message from the Empire was clear: resistance was futile. Back on Earth, the leaders of the United Earth Federation gathered in emergency meetings. Political heads from all corners of the globe huddled in a hidden underground war room, preparing to coordinate a counteroffensive. They knew they could not win a direct military confrontation with the Empire's forces. Their ships were primitive compared to the Empire's star destroyers. Their weapons were outdated and outclassed. The Earth's most brilliant strategists, military leaders, and politicians knew they could not fight back in a conventional way. But in the midst of the chaos, a human general, an unassuming man named Marcus Dillon, made a decision that would change the course of the war. Marcus was not a typical strategist. He was a military genius, yes, but he was also known for his eccentricities and sense of humor. At the height of the crisis, he had a strange idea, a completely ridiculous one. After an agonizing silence during a meeting where discussions revolved around possible retreat, surrender, or futile resistance, he raised his hand and said one sentence that would forever be etched in the history of humanity's response to the Empire. "Hold my beer." The room fell silent, the weight of the situation pressing down on them. The military leaders, many of whom had expected to be discussing serious plans of retaliation, were stunned. Marcus Dillon had never been known for taking the situation too seriously, but now, with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, was this really the time for humor? Yet, to everyone's surprise, it was exactly the right time. Dillon's words, though ridiculous, acted like a spark. A wild, insane idea started to spread throughout the room. Maybe, just maybe, they could respond to the Empire not with might, but with something even more unexpected. It was the absurdity of it all that inspired the plan. The humans had no resources, no weapons that could stand against the Empire's vast armada. But they had something else, something unique: their sense of humor, their creativity, and their sheer unpredictability. Dillon's response wasn't just a throwaway remark, it was the beginning of the most bizarre and ingenious plan to take down an empire the galaxy had ever seen. The humans weren't going to bow to the Empire, they were going to outweak them. The first step in the plan was an overwhelming media blitz. Humanity's best comedians, influencers, and public figures were mobilized to send a message to the Empire, not with weapons, but with ridicule. The largest media networks, the biggest social media platforms, and even encrypted communication channels used by the government became flooded with what could only be described as memes. The first meme, simple yet effective, was a crude digital drawing of the Empire's massive warships being attacked by an army of human soldiers wielding giant foam fingers and oversized rubber chickens. A single line of text beneath the image read, "Earth, where wars are fought with slapstick comedy." It was a subtle dig, a playful jab at the Empire's grotesque sense of superiority. But it didn't end there. The memes only escalated from there, with humans producing an avalanche of bizarre and increasingly ridiculous content that mocked every aspect of the Empire's war effort. Videos began circulating, showing humans painting over the Empire's insignia on captured ships and replacing it with a drawing of a giant, smiling human face. A new era of peace, the videos claimed, brought to you by the unifying power of ridiculousness. But it was the humans' military response that truly baffled the Empire. They didn't do what any sane strategist would have expected. They didn't launch a fleet of ships into battle, hoping to match the Empire's overwhelming numbers. Instead, humanity decided to fight back with one of the most absurdly unconventional strategies ever conceived, absurdity itself. The first human fleet to engage the Empire's forces was not a group of battle-hardened soldiers or highly advanced warships. Instead, they launched a force of ships loaded with nothing but inflatable rubber duckies, beach balls, and oversized foam hammers. As the human ships neared the Empire's battle lines, they released the inflatable items into space, creating a chaotic, surreal scene that left the Empire's commanders utterly confused. "Are they serious?" An Empire fleet commander asked, looking at the human ships in disbelief as they careened toward them, their weapons not firing, their ships simply filled with the most ridiculous cargo imaginable. But then came the second shock. The humans had outfitted their ships with speakers that blared loud, obnoxious circus music. The sound echoed through the vacuum of space, disrupting the Empire's communications and causing confusion among their ranks. For a moment, the Empire's military might so vast and intimidating was reduced to a cartoonish scene of disarray. The flotilla of rubber duckies began to float toward the Empire's ships, and their serious war commanders, who had expected to meet a fleet of soldiers with weapons and strategies, were now faced with an army of bizarre and harmless objects. It wasn't just a distraction. It was a disruption on a psychological level. The Empire's soldiers, trained for the most brutal and organized of campaigns, had no idea how to respond. Was it an elaborate trick? Was it a trap? How could they fight against something so utterly ridiculous? Was this some kind of psychological warfare meant to destabilize them? Was this a test of their will? As the days passed, the absurdity only increased. Humanity launched fleets filled with inflatable animals, flying circus tents, and giant holographic projections of clowns and jugglers. Wherever the Empire tried to make a move, the human response was an even more outlandish spectacle. On the battlefronts, human soldiers began arriving in brightly colored armor, looking like caricatures of war, equipped not with guns, but with oversized foam swords and shields. Some human ships began transmitting 24/7 broadcasts of friendly greetings, declaring that peace could only come through a galaxy-wide game of laser tag. In the face of all this, the Empire was at a loss. They sent their best tacticians to counter humanity's bizarre tactics, but each attempt to regain control was met with more absurdity. Elite Empire shock troopers, armed with the deadliest weapons in the galaxy, were found trying to fight off swarms of rubber chickens and honking inflatable horned beasts. Military generals sent messages demanding explanations, only to receive video messages from human comedians pranking their leaders, calling them the best bad guys ever. In their desperation, the Empire tried everything they could think of, deploying special agents, hacking into human systems, and even threatening to obliterate entire planets if the jokes didn't stop. But no matter what the Empire did, humanity responded with more jokes, memes, pranks, and madness. Eventually, their tactics started to take a psychological toll. Empire soldiers, once known for their discipline and resolve, were beginning to crack under the absurdity of it all. It wasn't long before the Imperial leadership began to grow desperate. Their war strategy was failing not because humanity was winning. There were no major victories, no large-scale battles, no conquest. But humanity's response had broken the Empire's spirit. They had attacked the very essence of the Empire's military might, its arrogance, its certainty that it could crush anyone in its path. And in doing so, humanity had inflicted the most devastating wound of all, one that no starship, no matter how powerful, could ever repair, the wound to the Empire's pride. The Empire, once the most powerful force in the galaxy, had been defeated not through military might, but through the ridiculous and absurd. In the end, humanity had proven that sometimes the most powerful weapon in the galaxy was the ability to laugh in the face of overwhelming odds, and that no empire, no matter how powerful, could ever survive being the butt of the universe's greatest joke. And so, in the most ridiculous way imaginable, humanity had not only survived the Empire's invasion, but had driven them back. And the galaxy would never forget the day the most absurd war in history was won, not by military might or cunning strategy, but by the simple, unstoppable force of human humor. The Empire's defeat would forever be remembered as a moment when the universe learned an undeniable truth: never, ever underestimate humanity's ability to be ridiculously invincible.